See, if you tie up the legs of a giraffe and say that a giraffe cannot run out of sheer observation, that's an incorrect observation. 80% of imports of Netherlands was coming from Bengal. Textile imports was coming from Bengal in the right till 19th century, right till 19th century. And textiles is nothing but technology, right? The word karkhana was being used from when? From when? From 13th century, 14th century onwards, right? Karkhana is a Urdu word, Arabic, roots, and was being used from 13th, 14th century. What is a karkhana? Karkhana is where an organized set of labor comes in and starts doing work. Now, if we systematically stop industries where we had the ability, where we had a technological advantage, and I mentioned quite a few, zinc, we were the leaders. Without pure zinc, you cannot have high quality brass, which is extremely important for both trade, for regular utensils, and for defense equipment, including bimetal cannons, which the Marathas started, went around and created, which was a much more lighter cannon than any other cannons out there in the world at that point in time. So we were technologically far more superior, but it was cut off. It was cut off through, through legislations, through regulatory structures, and so on and so forth. Now, once you are cut off, that's the end of technology. Anybody else who's got poorer technology then starts running, then starts saying, I'll build the next one and next one. So the way the global, and the reason why I created the term technological sovereignty and before that digital colonization was because the way the trade structure has been created is that you come out with a new technology, you go ahead and make it a standard, then you patent it, right? And then you go ahead and start getting monopolistic rent out of it, disproportionate economic benefit out of it. And you use that money to go back and create the new set of technologies. And then you say, I've got a patent on it, I've got a copyright on it, and so on and so forth. The whole concept of copyright and patents and so on started happening when? Around 1960s. Before that, it was there, but nobody really cared about it. From 1960s onwards, systematically, every institutions, everybody would be pushing for IPR. In the 60s, there would be professors coming from America to my alma mater in IIT Kanpur and say, please, professors, I'll teach you about IPR. Why in 1960s? Because the last of the colonies went independent. Now, how do I maintain my lifestyle and my so-called high productivity without making other people work for me? Earlier, before 1790, I had plain slaves coming from Africa, and therefore the Indian ships would go from UK to Africa, pick up the slaves, go to US, dump them, pick up gold, take them to UK, and that was the most profitable trade route, and that's where they stopped the Indian ships from operating. Now, once you don't have slaves, what do? You get slaves by not calling them slaves. So we work hard, we create stuff, but everything that we do is lower priced. If there is a barber in India who does 10 heads, he'll go back in a slum and live. A barber in US will do 10 heads and then drive a car and go to an apartment. What is the productivity difference? That guy also did 10 heads, this guy also did 10 heads. So this whole scam of saying this higher productivity is basically saying that whatever you produce, I will price it lower. Whatever I produce, I'll price it higher. If you end up copying the molecule that I created, I'll then come out with a product patent rather than a process patent. This I'm talking about pharmaceuticals. If you end up copying the product itself, I'll then go ahead in 7 years' time when the patent expires and say, well, I have a new molecule. The old molecule was very bad for your health. Please ban it globally. Please buy only the new molecule. And that's how we are trying to protect and push for the Western hegemony on technology, which is what the China crashed into. China realized that, and they crashed into it. And I can tell you the examples of DVD players that China faced, and LEDs and so on and so forth. So let me take the quick example of DVD players. When they were selling DVD players at $120, two companies landed and said, we have got a patent on MP4. The MP4 is an open standard. Between them, they had 450 patents. And they forced these companies to pay them $20 royalty. Pretty soon, the DVD players cost fell down to $40, $42. Those who have been loitering in Walmart in those days in US would have seen those $40, $42 DVD players. Out of those $42, $20 was manufacturing, $20 was royalty, and only $2 was left for the blood and sweat of those who are manufacturing it. So the way China responded was not because of any other reason, but the fact that they were actually being taken for a ride based on this so-called IPR regime. If you look at an Apple phone, everything is being manufactured in US, and all of us know the numbers. $200 is the cost of manufacturing, they sell it for $800 plus. Who's taking the balance $600? Is the IPR cost this much, $600? No, it does not make sense. And therefore, we have that Western hegemony on technology being continued, which is why one of the questions that you asked earlier, is there distrust between the existing Quad countries? Yes, there is, because this game is going on continuously. Technology is wealth. People would like to deny technology to you, be it pharmaceuticals, be it vaccines, be it IT, be it electronics, whatever the case may be, they will deny technology to you.